The Filipino American Cancer Care now brings you On the Air with FACC, tributes and support to those impacted by cancer. On the Air with FACC, the Filipino American Cancer Care on PHLV Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang gabi sa ating mga kababayan dito sa Amerika. Good morning, Philippines. Magandang umaga, Pilipinas. My name is Josie Zaiman, and of course, kasama ko naman sa Las Vegas, PHLV Radio, si Johan, at dito sa Virginia, si Ed Logan, at sa Maryland naman, kasama natin si Emerich Vicente. May isa po tayong bad news ngayong gabi dahil yung isa sa mga beneficiaries natin ay namatay. Si Euphemia Buenaflor, isang stage 3 breast cancer patient. So, our condolences to the family and loved ones of Euphemia Buenaflor. Now, anyway, I would like to say good evening sa aking mga co-hosts, Ed Logan and Emerich Vicente. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Josie. But before I start, happy birthday, Josie.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
You know, I know how hard it is trying to balance the emotion of how you celebrate life while others lost battle of cancer. So that's why I know it's starting the program, but I still want you to know celebrating life is really indeed a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you know, as a cancer survivor,
last episode, so you know, I'm glad you're here. And you know, our theme for January is health and wellness. So I can't wait to really, you know, hear our
microphone.
Okay?
This is the effect of the birthday celebration.
Hey, Emerich. So.
Okay, Emerich. Oops, you don't have any volume, Emerich. Okay, we can't hear you. I think you may have to.
I was muted. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. I said happy birthday out to Joseph. I was like chatting around, but and Kuya Ed, and to everybody, happy New Year. Good morning, Filipinas. Good evening to everyone here in United States and to New York because we have a special guest. But you know, there's so many things happening. I remember when you celebrated your birthday last year, Ate Josie. That's I think that was the first time that we seen each other face to face. We were on the phone and all that good stuff because we were launching your book, and it was really nice. It's celebration of life, and yeah, you would just you would just survive your cancer. Journey at that time and all of those good stuff that's happening now to you. So I'm so happy that you're with us and you're sharing your blessings to us.
And because of that celebration of life, we have the Filipino American Cancer Care.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. She is also a cancer survivor. Her name is Bailey O'Brien, was a 17-year-old student athlete in her first semester of college when she was diagnosed with melanoma skin cancer. She went through standard treatments recommended by her doctors, but sadly, the cancer returned at the onset of her senior year. Even more devastating was that despite further treatment, her cancer quickly progressed and her doctor believed she had a year or less to live. By the grace of God, however, Bailey found hope that she could beat the odds and she embarked on a holistic healing journey searching for a cure. She took the road less traveled, committed to a radical diet and alternative treatment plan, and prayed for a miracle. 10 weeks after her diagnosis, Bailey was declared cancer-free. her life was changed forever and she became a new person. She found purpose in loving and serving the cancer community and became a cancer coach. This March, in celebration of her 10-year remission anniversary, she plans to publish her first book to share her story and inspire hope that all things are possible. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bailey O'Brien. Hi, Bailey.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you all.
Okay, go ahead, Ed, for the first question.
Yeah, so Bailey, you know how small the world is, right? Even though it's so big, but it's so small indeed. When we just want to make sure, how many siblings do you have? Just to give a little bit background.
Tell us about your family background.
Background, your parents, they're still in New York, that kind of stuff. So we just want to start with that conversation.
Sure, I'd love to. I have a brother who's 2 years younger than me, and he lives in Connecticut. He's an engineer, and my sister is 5 years older than me, and she lives pretty close by. She's married and has 3 children who are 8, 6, and 3 years old, and they are quite a joy. My parents also live nearby, and my mom is a teacher, and my dad is also an engineer, and he does heavy highway construction.
Oh.
Okay. So how did you first find out about your cancer diagnosis?
So I was in my first semester of college. I had been a sailing camp counselor for a few weeks out of the summer, and I went on vacation for a week every summer as well. And I would actually get a rash on my chest from the sun, and I burned very easily. So I knew I needed to wear sunscreen and watch out for, skin cancer. But unfortunately, what I did was not enough, and I was diagnosed. I actually noticed a mole on my right temple here that had changed. It's what started out looking like a dark freckle turned into it looked like a pimple underneath that, but it wouldn't pop like a pimple. It would just bleed. So that was the first sign that I had that of the skin cancer.
So
Wow.
really being a teenager, right, is really hard. Imagine it 10 years ago, right? Can you imagine? It's really, time flew, right? But, being that young, right, experiencing that word and hearing that, say, cancer, what is your first reaction when you hear that you have a cancer as a teenager? Because nowadays you will see there's like some support system, but not as 10 years ago. So that's why I just want to give our listener, your journey, to give a little bit reflection.
Yeah, it was very shocking to me. I came home for Christmas, the Christmas break, and my dad said, "You need to sit down, and I think you know why." And I said, "No, I don't know why." And I, realized what, as he started to tell me that it was cancer. And I didn't know anything about cancer. I didn't know what kind of treatment I would need, if I was going to die from the cancer. I didn't know, you don't think skin cancer and, it going in deeper into the body. So I didn't know what would come next. So it was really confusing to me. And I felt pressure. Eventually, I had to decide to take the spring semester off from college, and I wanted to try to keep up with my classes. And I felt that I was responsible to my team. I was on the swim and dive team at college, and I had a partial scholarship. So I, and I didn't even believe that I deserved it to begin with. So I felt a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Now, when your doctor, or I guess your doctor, talked to your parents, because you were 17, so they don't tell the minor directly. What was the explanation? How did you get melanoma? From you, I think it's just it tells a different way to our audiences and to our listeners versus the doctors. Did they explain it to you and all that good stuff?
Well, they said basically overall they didn't know, except that I had fair skin. I burned easily. My eyes and my hair are, a bit lighter in color. And I believe personally, I think that my body was an environment that was friendly to cancer developing. I was so stressed out that my immune system didn't have as much of a chance to fight it off.
Do you remember at age 17 what your are you always exposed under the sun? Are you how's your eating habits and all that stuff? Do you remember those days?
Yeah. I didn't go out in the sun a lot besides those few weeks in the summer when I was outside all day, every day, pretty much. And when I went away to college, the way that I handled my stress was through just eating food like nonstop.
Comfort food.
Yeah, comfort food. Pizza, ice cream, French fries.
Yeah, it's hard because melanoma. There's a misconception out there that too much exposure to the sun. It's not exactly just that. So I wanted to come from you. There's a lot of research, and I think it's really important to listen to the doctor. And I'm glad that. What triggered you to go get it checked?
I went home for Thanksgiving break, and then my mom drove me back to school for, to finish the last few weeks of the semester. And it's a 4-hour drive, 3.5-hour drive. And we had just pulled onto the campus, and I said, "Hey, Mom, I have this thing that looks kind of weird." And so that was the first step. I showed her, and then she scheduled an appointment with my grandma's dermatologist back in New York. So I went back home to New York the next weekend and had that biopsied. And so it was a few weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later, that I got the results.
Is there a family history of cancer in your family?
There's no history, really. My dad has had some basal cell carcinoma, but that's really the extent of my family history with any type of cancer.
Okay, go ahead, Ed.
Sure. So, as Josie basically introduced you, Bailey, when you heard that you have only 1 year to live, right? Sometimes people have different way of, taking in that kind of words from the doctor, right? So from that moment when you heard that, what was the trigger for you to say, "Hey, I will, fight it"? Give that courage, the inner strength of you, fight number one with your family support, trying to find, as Josie also mentioned during the introduction, that you tried to seek treatment outside the United States for another comprehensive, holistic approach of treatment. So give us a little bit background and kind of bring us back to that journey, if you don't mind, for our listeners. So,
of course. So my freshman year, I went through my treatments. I had some surgeries, and I had systemic treatment and older immunotherapy. And then I was finally doing better and feeling more confident, less pressure and all, socially, academically, and athletically. I was doing well in each of those areas that I had struggled in. And I was really excited for my senior year. I just thought, this is going to be great. And then I got the news that I had the recurrence. And that was really, that was pretty depressing to me. And then I went through more surgery. I had 2 surgeries. I lost half of my ear in the second surgery. And I had half of my face was paralyzed for, it took about a year for full, at least to 95% healing. It's still a little bit, a little bit, tiny bit off. But, and then I thought I would be good for 3 to 5 years because that was when my doctor said it would probably come back. and it would be life-threatening. I knew that I didn't have a long lifespan left, but it was just 2 weeks after I finished my treatment that I found the cancer under my chin, and that they told me that it was melanoma. And then a couple of days later, I found out that it was in multiple places in my neck, in my lung, and my spine.
Mm-hmm.
And there weren't treatments that, really offered hope to live long. I didn't know how long. My mom didn't tell me that information,
Mm-hmm.
but the doctor said 7 months without treatment and 14 months with treatment.
Mhm.
And that was absolutely devastating. That was the very worst moment of my life. And I thought it was, it was just more than I could bear.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I just thought about the options that were out there. What could I do?
Yeah.
Who are the world's best doctors and what did they offer?
Mhm.
And ultimately, no matter what I envisioned in my mind, New York, Boston,
Mhm.
China, anywhere,
Yeah.
if there was something that would work, I would have known about it, and there was nothing. So, but it was in the next moment that my mom told me what her friend had said. Her friend had started researching alternative treatments for various diseases. And she said, I believe 100% that Bailey's going to get well. We just have to figure out what is going to help her specifically. And she had talked to my mom about, integrative and alternative treatments the months leading up to that, but we
Mhm.
weren't to receive it yet. I wasn't ready to receive that yet until I got to that point of absolute hopelessness.
Yeah.
And then I was ready. I wanted to live, and I was, I was studying nutrition at the time, actually. And I believe that nutrition could heal, or, you could prevent disease with nutrition. But up until that point, I didn't realize that you could heal the body through nutrition also.
Mhm.
So that's when, we started researching, and I said, yeah, everything that I've done so far has not worked. And I don't, I just felt really discouraged by the results of my cancer treatments up to that
Did
point.
you talk to your oncologist or your, primary doctor about this alternative medicine that you want to go through?
I don't believe I talked with my primary care doctor much at that time. He entrusted me to my oncologist, and I had a few. I met with a surgeon who then introduced me to another melanoma specialist, and I had 2 other melanoma oncologists, one in New York, one in Boston, where I was going to school. And one doctor, we did tell that we were considering going to Mexico for treatment. My mom was going to come with me. And, by this time I was 20 years old. I was an adult, but it's always good to have a caregiver with you for that. And I didn't speak with her, but my mom spoke with her or her assistant, and basically said that she wouldn't see me unless I followed her protocol. So essentially she dropped me as a patient and, wasn't willing to continue working with me. But there was another doctor who I had who was willing to work with us still. The way that my mom framed it, which I encourage people to do now, is when you talk to an oncologist and you want to do something, if you don't want to follow their protocol exactly, you can just say, I'm looking for people to be on my team for my medical treatment, and I want to work with you. Would you be willing to help us? For me, I needed scans. So, I asked, could you continue ordering scans for me? And he was willing to do that. So, fortunately, I did have an oncologist who was open-minded enough to allow me to do what I wanted to do for my treatment.
Have a team approach. And sometimes, surround yourself with the experts who can help you improve what your conditions are. And I think it's so nice to hear how your parents, your family are very is with you walking you through, listening to you, how you feel, because it's not easy, number one. And the second part is, listening to someone that cares about you, it seems like it's important to you as well. How was the family's interaction besides your parents, with you and during all of this journey?
Mm. I laugh a little bit because my grandmother is a retired nurse, and
That's it.
she was very active during the first experience I had with cancer, and I actually lived with her for a month during the week so she could drive me to my treatment and bring me back. And she was from my perspective, I felt like she was butting into my conversations with my doctor and asking too many questions. And so actually the second time that I had cancer, I continued, I went back, and my grandma was trying to help me out, but then I had to say, like, I appreciate that you care about me. I know you love me very much, and that's why you're trying to help me. But for my own, mental, healing, to have peace through this process, I need to do this on my own. And so I drove myself to my radiation treatments, and, thankfully I had no side effects really that altered my ability to drive. But overall, my family was very, very supportive. I received care packages and lots of love, especially when I went to Mexico, which was really scary. And that was just a really hard time to begin with. To be
How long did you stay in Mexico? I mean, as far as, when you're finding desperation, as you mentioned a while ago, before the start of the show, when you're trying to find hope and desperation to survive, the will to live, Bailey, can you give us that feeling in that foreign country, trying to see, will this gonna work, right? Give us a little bit more of background, if you don't mind, how this place, to our listener.
Yeah. It was really cool timing. How things came together, because maybe the day after I found out that the cancer was so widespread, that there was a motivational speaker who came to my school to talk to the athletes, and he was great. And we are still friends now. But he talked about working hard and staying positive, and being an inspiration to other people. And that was really what I needed to hear in that moment, because I wanted to encourage my teammates through my challenges. And it was really hard because they were going to their championship meet, and I really wanted to be there, with the intense rivalry against the other top team in the conference. But I couldn't, I was fighting for my life. I couldn't wait another week to start it. And so I, took that with me to Mexico, and I was there for 3 weeks. It wasn't too long. And they actually, I was on Skype with them during the conference meet, and everyone in the whole, in the pool area, they had a moment of silence for me, and they held hands, and then they raised their arms together, expressed their support for me. And so everyone, rivals and teammates came together for me. That was, it was huge to have that support network from all areas of my life, and strangers and people around the world who my relatives and friends knew, who were praying for me. And it was hard. It was hard too, because my mom and I stayed in the same room together, and our relationship was really strained. And, but I just knew what I needed to do, and I was just focused on doing that 100%, because I did not, I could visualize the cancer inside my body, and I just wanted it out as soon as possible.
Okay. Do you remember a specific moment when you were hit by a realization that, this might be the end of your life.
Yeah. My mom and my sister came to give me the news from the last scan, which showed that there was cancer in my neck, my lung, and my spine. Mm-hmm. And that was the moment when, the worst moment in my cancer journey, when I really thought there's no other way. I'm going to die. And I was in my dorm room, and there was a window that looked on the beautiful Boston skyline. And it was, I could just imagine the doctors who were there, the world's best doctors. Dana-Farber is one of the top cancer hospitals in the United States. And, but they had nothing to offer me. And it was incredibly heartbreaking.
And I know, Bailey, number one, we want to thank you and appreciate you. This show really shows our vulnerabilities. Sometimes when the guests said to us, "Oh, do you have questions?" Because we just go with the flow. And sometimes the emotion is, even though it's 10 years ago, Bailey, remember I was sharing with you before too, I said, being a 5-year cancer survivor, it's felt like it's just yesterday. So number one, we really thank you for sharing that. The authenticity of how, the cancer journey really challenges the person inside out. So number one, I want to thank you and really having that courage, because courage is not easy. When people tell this, that's why, I'm so excited that you're sharing this, because I know you're going to give hope to other people who's looking for hope. So on the second segment, of course, we will do about how you transform being a cancer coach. So therefore, I just want to make sure we'll talk
and we're
about
going to
that.
ask her.
Yeah.
We're going to ask her about her love life.
Yeah. All the Filipino, our listeners too.
She had this revelation that she had a half Filipino boyfriend, half American. Bailey, in this program, we ask people about their love life, except Emmerich.
You've drilled me over love life.
Okay, this time around, Emmerich is going to introduce our special guest singing artist tonight.
Absolutely. I am so honored to introduce a 5th grader at St. John Fisher. She performed as one and as part of the ensemble on the 2019 professional production of A Christmas Carol by Stumptown Stages. She also performed in the Young People's Theater projects, The Little Mermaid, Children's of Eden, and Shitty Bang Bang. She was child juror at the 2016 Metro Manila International Film Festival in the Philippines. This young lady likes to compose songs. Wow. Helping is helpful. Liam's messing my paintings. Pikachu, I love you. Love to play softball and baseball, and is a member of SJF Glee Club. She seems to be following in the footsteps of her mother, Celia Ferrer, who was a professional teen theater actress for the Philippines Education Theater Association in the 1990s. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to, and Kia and actually Celia love to sing as well together. And please, I wanted to introduce our guest for tonight, Kia Leslie Ferrer Dune.
There was a time when I was alone, nowhere to go and no place to call home. My only friend was the man in the moon. Even sometimes he would go away too. And when as I closed my eyes, I saw a shadow flying by. He came to me with the sweetest smile, told me he wanted to talk for a while. He said, Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely. And ever since that day, I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boys, they say to me, away from all of reality. Neverland is home to lost boys like me, and lost boys like me are free. Neverland is home to lost boys like me, lost boys like me are free.
Wow.
Okay, thank you so much. It's now 9:32 in the evening here in the East Coast, and I guess it's 6:32 in the Pacific or the West Coast. Now let's go back to our special guest, cancer survivor, Bailey O'Brien. Now my question is this: why did you choose to work as a cancer coach, and how did you meet your Filipino American boyfriend? Was it before or after your cancer diagnosis?
Good question.
That's a lot of questions.
That's a lot of questions. We have like 27 minutes.
Okay, I think I could answer pretty quickly. I'll start with in chronological order. I met my boyfriend in my Writing 100 class. I remember, why am I saying this? It's for you. So I saw him and I thought he was cute, and I just, kind of ignored him because I thought, oh, it's never going to happen. And then I guess he kind of talked to me and then asked me out, and I was like, what, really? Like, you want to go out with me? He was also an athlete on the golf team, and that was in our first semester, so that was before cancer. And he was really great. He was actually a really huge support when I went through the cancer. He would come to New York on weekends to visit and support me, and he was there for my surgery, and meant a lot to have his support.
Okay.
So, and then your question was about
why did you choose to work as a cancer coach now?
Oh, yes. So that really had nothing to do with me and all to do with God. I never lost sleep when I had cancer. I never lost sleep over the cancer, over worrying about it. But I did lose sleep when I was about to graduate from college and I had no plan. I had no idea what I was supposed to do with my life. I was studying nutrition, but it wasn't really holistic nutrition. It was all in the box of, listening to the doctors and following their orders, with all the medications and things that, from my perspective may or may not be necessary. So, but really the main thing was that I could not share my cancer story and tell people to do some of the same things that I did, to use nutrition as a cancer therapy, because it was, quote unquote, unproven. There were no scientific studies that said, intervene with a diet and lifestyle protocol and your cancer will go away. But actually now there is research on prostate cancer, early stage prostate cancer, and changing your diet and having social support and mindfulness techniques that have shown, statistically significant results reducing prostate cancer. So I did apply for a dietetic internship. That's the track. I was on track to become a dietitian, and I did not get matched with an internship, which was a relief, honestly. So I just prayed every day, multiple times, God, help me out. Like, what do you want me to do? Please guide me, give me some answers. And so my sister actually, this was just one of my dreams come true. She had a baby when I was finishing up my last year. And then I actually babysat for her. I watched my first nephew for several months. And then that motivational speaker who came to my school, he asked me if I would like to be his apprentice, because I shared with him, I said, thank you so much for encouraging me. I'm still doing well. And I actually gave a speech at my high school and I got a standing ovation. And he thought, I think you'd be great at this. And so I started, he helped me develop my message, and I did a little bit of motivational speaking, or, inspirational, just sharing my story. And then 3 points that I had about, 3 things that I had struggled with before that really, that changed with my cancer experiences, about not letting fear get in the way of me living my life, being more grateful, and appreciating my relationships with other people, because that's really what brings the value and joy to life. Is with my, at our championship meets, when we won, I wanted to share that joy with my family and my parents. And that was how our joy is made complete when we're able to share it with other people. And so being isolated, not having good relationships, that can really detract from life. So, but I really couldn't, the crux of my message really was that I was really happy for a few moments, a few days after I was healed and I was finally free from cancer, after all of that hard work and that struggle and fear. But I didn't stay happy. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's something really wrong here. Like, it would be more tragic to have this second chance at life and to waste it than to never have had it at all. And so I started praying again. Okay, like, God, are you real? And how can what is the purpose of, I had prayed for a miracle, and I was like, was this God answering my prayer, giving me healing? And I worked like it depended on me, prayed like it depended on God. And that's how I view life in general, and recommend what people do for when they have cancer. And so that's actually, I ended up going to Bible study at college and found other people there who had the same questions that I did about, why does God allow suffering? My friend's mom died of lung cancer when I was in Mexico getting my treatment and healing. So why did I heal and she didn't? And she left her son behind. He had no family then at that point. And I just, I had that survivor's guilt and had to make sense of it. So I really just gave Jesus a chance for the first time. I thought the Bible was incredible, just the comfort and the endless possibilities with God. And it really helped me, because I struggled a lot with confidence and worrying about what other people thought of me, and feeling really anxious and hopeless, not having anything really solid to ground me. But God offered all of those things, acceptance and love and forgiveness. And I didn't know that God's love was unconditional. Growing up, I had gone to a church that made me believe that God's love was conditional. But someone explained that when, God loves us, he has a great plan for us, but our sin separates us from God. And God, according to God and his word, the payment for sin is death. And so we can either pay that ourselves and be separated from him forever, or we can receive the gift that that Jesus died on the cross for our sins and took our place, and receiving that gift wipes away all of our sins, past, present, and future. And from then on, there's no condemnation. Romans 8:1 says there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. And that was really refreshing and attractive to me, to God. And so I wanted to believe God, but found it difficult when you can't see or feel him. So I really didn't have a lot of experiences with God, besides that giant thing about the cancer.
Yeah.
But still, that was a lot to make that faith commitment to surrender, give all of my life to Jesus and live for him. So God gave me the idea that Jesus was just like my cancer treatments, which were unconventional, unaccepted by society, but they had helped other people. And I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I didn't accept it until I had no other hope left. And so I thought, well, there's even more evidence for Jesus being this God's son. So I thought, who am I to say that he's not all that he claims to be? And I decided, okay, 51% faith here.
It's moving up. Yeah.
I was like, okay, Jesus, I believe. I had to decide, my life had to go in a definite direction by then. And so I decided, and God has not let me down. I did have one time when I was doubting because I was relying too much on my feelings for my faith.
Mhm.
I saw a bunch of people around me, worshiping and having this emotional experience. And I said, why am I not feeling that? But, I just actually, funny thing, I pretended like God wasn't real. I said, okay, I'm going to act like God is not real. And it was really sad. It was like a breakup because God, we have a relationship with God. God wants a relationship with us. And that's what it's like when we have faith. It's a relationship because you're always talking to him.
Okay.
Based on that experience you said, let's say, somebody say, what does Cancer Coach does? What type of offerings or advice he gives? Because, when people now ask me, are you a cancer coach? No, I'm not a cancer coach. So just the basic understanding.
Do you need to have a certification to be called as a cancer coach or a license?
You actually don't. I was certified as a square one cancer coach, but there's no, there are plenty of programs out there where you can get certified in certain programs, but I'm a certified Institute for certified integrative nutrition health coach. Mm-hmm. So I went through that program and they give you a certificate, but that's even, last time I heard they were fighting to get health coaching covered by insurance, but it wasn't something that everyone can get, standard. And I'm sorry, I forgot about that question. I went off on that tangent, but
no, it's important. I'm glad that you shared those because that's what inspired you towards this.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So I surrendered to Jesus and then through prayer, I started with the babysitting and then the motivational speaking, and then God was closing the doors on that. And then I thought, well, people had encouraged me to pursue health coaching and share more about health information. Mm-hmm. And, I was resistant at first because I thought I could reach more people with the speaking, to larger audiences. But I did the health coaching course and they don't recommend the school that I went to, they don't recommend giving recommendations for people with cancer, but I went through this course on how to launch your business online. It's called Product Launch Formula. And they offered a live event and I went to Phoenix, Arizona for it. And the second night I saw Chris Wark, who is a stage 3C colon cancer survivor and cancer coach. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember what I was reading in the Bible that morning. It was in Deuteronomy chapter 1. I think it's in verse 6 where the Lord says, you've circled this mountain long enough. It's time to move north. And I just always remember that, because it's like, it was that point where God was ushering me into the cancer coaching world. And so I went up and bumbling and introduced myself to him. And then he did an interview with me and put it on his blog. And then I got tons of emails with people reaching out. And then he helped me tremendously with that. And it just, that was in 2015 or 16.
Yeah. By the way,
journey.
our listener, Chris Beat Cancer is one of the most viewed in Facebook and in other social media platforms. So, that's why when people like looking for, nutrition, how to beat cancer. So Chris will be one of the top notch shows. So I just want to make sure a lot in the Philippines, I think, they're more actually up to date than me, but that cancer is the context of Bailey.
I was gonna say, Bailey, your journey from the story that you're sharing to us, your journey is a gift for all of our listeners right now. You're a gift for us listening to you, and for the people that you're coaching through their journey, and even in Josie and Ed. For me, it's a gift for me because of their journey with the cancer and being survived it. And I haven't had an experience, but I'm learning. I'm learning all of this.
And Bailey, I just want you to comment to really, when you say about survivor guilt, those is really very personal, right? So hearing from another person right now, hearing that, because, I'm starting to become public about survivor guilt as myself, I'm experiencing that before. So that is, again, I want you to, to thank you personally is saying that in public, because, people like us who also have that kind of emotion, we have to really hear it, and really confirm that that's,
it's a true feeling. It's a true emotion. But you all have, it's been a gift for us. So there's a reason why you're alive. To keep someone alive, or to keep someone educated, it's just a lot. So yeah, the divine intervention, you just really can't do anything about it. You accept it, embrace it, and pass it on. So.
Amen. Yeah, I don't want to take too much time, but it was hard. It was like I felt so emotional and wanted to share that incredible joy, but at the same time, I just felt so terribly that other people were had suffered so deeply with losing family members and friends. But even John Gordon, the motivational speaker who discipled me, and he was the one who actually encouraged me to trust God. And he was the one who said, just pray for a miracle and pray over and over again. And I did. And he had lost his mother to cancer. And he said, don't hide your light. Like, don't not be joyful because you worry about other people being hurt. And now I know, like, I kind of felt like this was coming. For a while, I was like, my life is really good. Like, I don't have any suffering, and people are suffering all around me. I was just kind of waiting for something to happen. And a couple of years ago, my sister got a diagnosis with an autoimmune disease that has no treatment. And so we're kind of going through this process again with my sister. And, the outcome is in God's hands, and we're praying for another miracle of healing. But but even people who survive suffer too. And so that's in a way comforting, to know that it's not so,
Okay. I have a last question for you, Bailey. What has cancer taught you about life and relationship with other people?
Oh yeah, relationships are everything. Like I said before, it's I'm realizing even more now with COVID and being isolated from people how important relationships are. And so I've been really, really grateful for even long distance friendships when I can go on Zoom or on the phone and talk with anyone, from anywhere. It's really, and I think that was part of my problem too, before cancer, before the healing. I didn't know what I was missing out on. I didn't know that I was missing out on deep friendships and, where you could really be comfortable. And, eventually I did get there, but I tended to isolate myself more. I was more of a hermit by nature, but that changed with cancer and God, especially. So.
Okay. Emmerich?
I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, you're gonna sing, isn't it? That's the last end.
Is that my cue? Oh my goodness, that was my cue.
You have to sing happy birthday to Josie because it's
Yes,
Josie's
you have to sing
birthday.
happy birthday.
Yeah,
I'm
there-
28 years old plus 20.
Okay, all of us need to sing. One,
Alright.
two.
No, I'm just kidding, Emmerich. You don't have to. You have to dedicate a song for Bailey.
Oh yes, I have to dedicate the songs for Bailey and to you, Josie, as well, because I think I was listening to all of the stories, and I'm trying to make it a customized song, but I found this song. It's an original Filipino music, but it's English. The title is "My Love Will See You Through," by Marco Season, and I think you will like it. I think we like it, and I hope Josie you like it too. When times get rough and your dreams just fall apart, and sometimes you feel that you can't go on, be strong, hold on, for my love will keep you warm through the coldest night, through the rain, through the storm. When friends turn their backs on you and you're so helpless you don't know what to do, I'll be on your side to comfort you. My love will see you through. When tears are in your eyes and you feel like you wanna cry, just reach out and I'll be around to understand. When you stumble and fall and you need a shoulder to lean on, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there with a helping hand. When the road seems so long and endless, and all you see is nothing but darkness, don't give up, just walk on, have faith in your heart, for my love will see you through. My love will see you through. When you reach from your star, when you cross the deepest sea, when you climb the highest hill, my love will always be with you in everything you do, in every step you make, in every road you take. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams, for my love will see you through.
Thank you so much, Emma Rich. My love will see you through. As in, God is watching us. Diba? Okay. So thank you so much, Bailey, for sharing your story and, of course, your time with us tonight here on PHLV Radio on the air with FACC. Lastly, your messages to our followers and listeners.
Thank you so much. That song actually reminded me of when I embarked going to Mexico, and really just I had to have faith and ask God for his help and his healing. And what meant the most to me, I knew that not everyone healed from cancer, but just to know that I was loved, was enough to help me get through. So know that you're loved, and God loves you. He has good plans for you. There's more hope for healing than most people realize. And with God, anything is possible for anyone. He can heal me. He can heal you too.
And God knows what's best for us. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Ed.
much, Bailey.
Thank you.
Emma Rich.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening and have a good morning, Filipinas.
Thank you. See you next week. See you next week again.
Yes. Thank you, Johan. See you next week.
The Filipino American Cancer Care has just brought you On the Air with FACC, tributes and support to those impacted by cancer. On the Air with FACC, the Filipino American Cancer Care on PHLV Radio.